So I guess she was right. I only had 9 lines, I think, to audition for the Doctor, and I knew they were looking for someone to make them laugh. So I did what you never do at an audition, and you never, never do it at a Star Trek audition. I ad-libbed. Big no-no. The casting director was exhausted. She had been trying to bring the cast together. They were having trouble finding a Captain Janeway, as you know. The casting director who was reading with me at the audition. Now bear in mind, I'm the only actor in Voyager who auditioned for the role he played 1 time. When you audition for a running role in a television series, you'll have as many as 4 or 5 auditions. If you're an unestablished actor, a younger actor, you'll audition first for the casting director, then for the casting director and the producers, then the casting director, the producers, and the studio executives, then the casting director, producers, studio executive, network executives. So you have a series of auditions where they keep adding more people in. I went, because I'd already auditioned and tested once for another part, I walked in the room and there are all the Star Trek producers, Rick Berman, Michael Piller, Jerry Taylor, the heads of Paramount Television, the heads of the new United Paramount Network, room full of people. Michael Piller very kindly says, "Bob, do you have any questions?" Or I said, "No, I'll just take a stab at it, and then if you want me to do something different, I'll do it." Okay, so now you remember on Voyager, there's in the pilot a tremendous, we've been pulled across the universe. A number of the ship's crew have been killed, including the regular Doctor. They activate the EMH, and it's the first time he's ever been activated. It's a brand new technology. And one of my first lines, I scan a wounded crewman, and I say, "Your injuries are not serious, you can return to your station." Well, I scanned the casting director, a woman named Ann Dutton, who was exhausted, as I said, and I said, "Your injuries are not serious, you can return to casting." And she laughed so hard she almost dropped her pages, because I had shocked her by saying something that I wasn't supposed to say. Then I said the last 2 lines. The final line in the script was, "I believe someone has failed to terminate my program." And I took a long deadpan look at everyone in the room, and I said, "I'm a doctor, not a nightlight." Got a big laugh, walked out, and they hired me immediately. So because of a cheap DeForest Kelly ripoff, I had 7 years of constant employment. Thank you, D. Kelly. When I met D. Kelly, I said, "You know, my character pays homage to you all the time." He said, "Ah, you mean you steal from me?" I said, "Yep, pretty much." And then, as I started to play the character, things occasionally would surprise me that no one had told me about before. As an example, there was an episode called Message in a Bottle that guest starred Andy Dick. Remember? How did the way say, "Oh yeah." Andy Dick is an unusual name, by the way. When I met Andy Dick, he said to me, this is the first time I met him, he said, "Your name Picardo is so much like Picard. Do you get teased a lot for that?" I said, "Wait a minute, your name is Andy Dick and you're going to make fun of mine?" We ended up getting along very well. We had a lot of fun together. I was a little concerned that, they might put a little blurb in TV Guide, the way they sometimes do when you have a well-known guest star, a little close-up box. And I was concerned what the caption might be. Picardo and Dick. Or Picardo, well, you know what, too many children here, I won't do any more Andy Dick jokes. In any case, in that episode, the doctor's bragging to the EMH Mach 2 about how, because of his portable emitter, he has full run of the ship and is not simply limited to sick bay's holographic environment. He brags that he's become a full-fledged member of the crew and that he's even had sexual relations. I read this line and I called the producers. I said, "Excuse me, when did he have sexual relations?" How did I miss that? I mean, because, you know, we saw him in the pilot in his first activation. We never saw him, except for one episode with Denara Pell. We didn't really see him on a date or anything. So I said, well, why would he have, why would the doctor have one of those if he's designed for emergency medical purposes only? What kind of emergency medical procedures are we thinking about? So because I didn't get a real good answer for that, I decided to write the story myself of how the doctor happened to have his program upgraded. I actually wrote a Star Trek book called The Hologram's Handbook. The Hologram's Handbook is sort of a satire of a self-help book. If you're an advanced artificial intelligence, this book tells you how to get along with stupid people with your inferiors. And I have the audiobook version of it here, where I read the funniest parts of the books. And it's just for a quick plug. It also benefits the Pediatric AIDS Foundation. Part of the proceeds go to that from every disc sold. So I'm now going to read you a selection from the Hologram's Handbook. This was my imagining, since I wrote this. This is my imagining of how the doctor happened to get his anatomical upgrade. The chapter is called Anatomical Correctness, the Program Upgrade of Kings. To use my own experience as an example, I was supposed to petition my captain for this and any other new systems upgrade. The delicate nature of this particular request did not deter me. I proposed countless scenarios to her in which the benefit that I would derive from first-hand intimate experience would prove invaluable for my understanding and treatment of future patients, particularly their sexual disorders. Captain Janeway seemed quite convinced after scenario number 26, and felt that hearing the remaining 187 wasn't necessary for her to make a decision. Permission was granted, and Lieutenant Torres was assigned to implement the upgrade. I offered a few suggestions, and was a little miffed to find that B'Elanna, who had recently begun dating Tom Paris, had her own modest design parameters firmly in hand. Having prided myself in my unique individuality, I was understandably reluctant to be assigned my newest feature without regard for my opinion and taste. Nonetheless, I was relatively satisfied with the outcome, and the first dozen or so tests on the holodeck that afternoon proved successful. I might also add that the complete control over my program protocols, which Captain Janeway entrusted to me several years ago, extends quite logically to all of my appearance parameters, even those not normally in evidence. B'Elanna's lack of regard for my suggestions is now a distant memory, as I've suggested and approved several upgrades to myself in the interim. Thank you. That was 45 seconds of penis jokes told in a way that you couldn't offend a child, right?